I'm going to put something into this video that is touching a lot of community guidelines here on YouTube, so I have to be very careful what I say. But I'm just going to comment on a program that was released yesterday by Channel 4 investigating Pfizer's new vaccine. This is it was a public broadcast, and I think we're allowed to comment on this story, which is very interesting for many respects. I really encourage everybody to please go to Channel 4's website and to look at that documentary. It was surprising that the media is actually looking at this. And I have to thank Channel 4 for even opening the door to investigate a story that everybody is talking about. Everybody's asking questions about this story. And why are people asking questions about this story? Well, Channel 4 pretty much said it in their program. The Pfizer vaccine, the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, is the most profitable drug ever produced for humanity. And I'm not going to go into the whole discussion about this vaccine and the politics and so forth. I'm focusing simply on what was said in that documentary. Pfizer's new treatment, messenger RNA treatment, is the most profitable drug ever produced in the history of any pharmaceutical company. And we can see this reflected in the share price, Pfizer's share price today, which is at record highs. You know, the facts are all there for anybody to see. During this program on Channel 4, you can see, they interviewed a whistleblower who highlighted problems with their trial data, also how Pfizer funded people to talk about the problems of other vaccines, that other vaccines could be causing cancer and so forth. This is all in Channel 4's documentary. So I ask you to go and look at this documentary. What I want to focus on personally is the fact that if we look at who is getting this very novel drug, which costs £22 a dose in the UK, so you will, and it's the same price in Ireland. So we're looking at the Irish government here paying €90 per person to get 3 doses of this treatment. If we look at the costs of this, and we look at then go to, for example, Africa and ask, well, how many people have been offered even 1 dose in Africa of this vaccine? Would you be surprised if I said to you that not even 5% of the African population has been offered even 1 dose of this amazing life-saving vaccine, according to Channel 4? Not even 1. Not even 5% of the African population. At the same time, as we are rushing in the first world to spend approximately €90 per citizen in Europe to give this a treatment, at the same time, over 250,000 children under the age of 5 in East Africa have died of malnutrition. This is at the same time. I'm here reflecting on this, and what is the decision I'm going to make at this moment in time? Well, I've refused to get any of these vaccines because I've had the disease last year. I was traveling in January and February last year, picked it up while traveling, was sick during March, early April, recovered, and this year, seemingly, the fact that I had the disease last year, this year, seemingly, our Irish government have determined that I don't have immunity from this disease, and that I need to have a cert to say I'm vaccinated. If you've recovered from the disease, it expires after 9 months. I don't think, I've seen anything in humanity's history that shows that when you've recovered from a disease, you should have some immunity against it, getting it again. I've been around people with COVID all year. I haven't had it. My daughter's had COVID. I haven't had it again. And I just feel, well, why rush to vaccinate me? Why is this mad rush by the Irish government to get me vaccinated for a disease I had last year? When 95% of the African population hasn't even been offered one dose of this amazing life-saving treatment, according to Channel 4. Not even one dose has been offered to 95% of the African population. At the same time, we are standing over and letting 250,000 children die in East Africa from malnutrition. Do people not see the hypocrisy here? We are under this regime here in Ireland at the moment that if you do not have this cert, you cannot go to a hotel, you cannot go to a restaurant, you cannot go to a gym. Am I the only one not seeing this? So there's a video here of an interview. You can see that the problems that Africa is facing, but the hypocrisy, guys, the hypocrisy that people turn a blind eye to. Pfizer's vaccine is a first world treatment. It has been rushed out. Not even one dose, 2 doses, 3 doses. Some countries are now buying enough stock to give a 4th dose of this treatment in the first world. And Pfizer will bend over backwards. And, as a Catholic, we saw Pope Francis very early receive this treatment. He could have taken the brave step and said, I will not take this vaccine until 95% of Africa has been offered this treatment. And it's not just Africa. Many third world countries face the same problems. Pfizer's vaccine has been marketed, sold to, promoted, and prioritized to the first world. You don't make 35 billion in profits otherwise. And these are facts, guys. These are facts. This is what has happened. And Channel 4 covers it really, really well. And so I'm standing up for a principle here. Why should I, in the first world, be first in line for a treatment, for a disease I already had? Why not prioritize instead of coming after me, making me comply with a system that I don't need, making me carry a cert for something that I don't need? Why not prioritize giving that treatment to those who have not even had access to it? So, this hypocrisy is astounding. It is absolutely crazy that we would, rush to give 3-4 doses of this treatment to first world countries when 95% of Africa hasn't even been offered one dose of Pfizer's amazing life-saving vaccine. I won't be part of that. I won't be the hypocrite going for my 3rd, 4th dose for a treatment for a disease I've already had last year. We're not seeing thousands and thousands of people who had COVID-19 last year getting reinfected and dying. It's not happening. So why come after us? Why are European governments hell-bent on making people who had COVID-19 in 2020, why are European governments hell-bent on making them take a treatment for a disease they've already recovered from? Where is the logic to this? Where's the science for this? This isn't about a disease now. This is about control. This is about profits. This is about shareholder profits. I mean, it is. And anybody who can't see that doesn't understand human nature. Human nature never changes. Greed never changes. And control Once governments get control, they very rarely relinquish them. No, I'm not here discussing the benefits or non-benefits or the problems around this treatment. I am purely discussing the fact that we live in an age of hypocrisy as far as this treatment. In an age where we will bend over backwards to ensure that people who can afford this treatment are taking 3 and 4 doses of it, but we will not prioritize the people who are not able to pay. Why should we have first world privilege when it comes to a treatment like this? Especially me, who has had the disease last year, recovered from the disease last year, was sick for 6 weeks, and now all of a sudden in 2021, our immunity seems to have magically, legally vanished for this disease. And we are forced to take a treatment for a disease we've recovered from. And there are millions of people like me in Europe. It makes absolutely no sense. So, I'm taking a stand for this. You can please donate my 3 doses, my €90 of treatment to somebody in Africa who hasn't even had 1 dose. Let them have the privilege of having what has been offered to me. Come on, guys. Let's get rid of these certs. Let's give us back our normal civil rights, our civil liberties in Ireland, and stop hoarding treatments in the first world. And let's offer those to people who haven't been offered them. And maybe while we're at it, distributing these amazing €90 treatments in Africa, maybe while we're at it, we could actually feed the 250,000 children under the age of 5 who are currently dying in East Africa. Maybe we could actually end unseen genocide of children dying of hunger every day. What world do we live in? Maybe Pfizer could say donate their profits to ending the apartheid that we have in this world of the haves and have-nots. If we, a human being should have the right to a meal. Or am I missing something here, guys? The hypocrisy is astounding. And everybody can see it. If this was really a war we were living in, then everybody would be treated equally. Instead, what we're seeing is this rush to make sure the first world is controlled and corralled, and to make sure that we take a treatment for a disease that some of us don't need, don't want, and are not going to take. So just my thoughts on this. I don't think I've said anything controversial against YouTube's policies. I'm commenting on that documentary that came out in Channel 4 yesterday. And I'm going to put a video here now of a TV report the last couple of days talking about the 250,000 children that are dying. While we rush in the first world to pay €90 to give me 3 doses of a treatment for disease I've already had, while we rush to do this, and while our society rushes to remove my human rights because I will not take this treatment for a disease I've already had, let's have a think about the 250,000 children under the age of 5 that are dying in East Africa. These are real human beings. We treat our dogs better in Europe than we treat children in Africa. We pay more for dog food in Europe and cat food in Europe than we do to actually to feed children in East Africa. That is a fact, guys. This is the world we live in. And it is what it is. So, let's hope that someday, somehow, people will see this hypocrisy for what it is. It's sickening, and I will not be part of it. God bless. Take care.
So to see that number, 250,000 children in 1 year, it's a stunning number, and the fact that this only looked at children under the age of 5. So Is it safe to assume that when you look at older children who are still quite small, that number's even bigger?
That number would definitely be bigger if we're looking for a wider spectrum of ages of children across the region. And for us, the concern is actually because a lot of the crisis in the region is really complex and dynamic. And we're finding increasingly a lot of the conflicts are mostly intercountry. So when you also now put on the additional layer of hunger and poor nutrition, you actually find, other than children dying of hunger and starvation, we're also looking at a generation of children who are likely to be stunted, which means they're shorter than they would be. And also, we are seeing children who are more and more wasted, which also means they are thinner than they ideally would be across the region.
Now, I don't know if you looked at the same data from the prior year, but is this a large increase in deaths over, I guess it would be 2020 or 2019, depending on what year what time period this looked at?
If you compare 2019 to date, you actually find children are even more impacted because of the triple nexus in the region of conflict, COVID-19, and climatic change. So you're finding that looking at the numbers now, we are seeing more children impacted together with their families and communities at large.
So we just heard the head of the IMF saying that she wants wealthy countries to pledge $100 billion to help situations like this. Based on the kind of donation that we've seen in the recent past, and countries around the world, of course, dealing with domestic issues themselves and COVID-19, do you think it's realistic that that kind of aid could change the situation that we've seen in East Africa?
That additional aid would definitely change the situation. I think most recently at the COP26, we saw high income countries and historical emitters having an opportunity to really support the development of funds to address rapidly escalating loss and damage. Unfortunately, they missed the boat. And so today's figures are actually telling the shocking story, the human story behind what we are calling for. And so it might not be convenient, it might not be easy, but difficult is not impossible. We are saying that all countries, all stakeholders really need to come together to mitigate this crisis.
All right, Kajala, thank you for bringing this story to light, and thank you for the work that you do.